Meeting of the Sherman County Board of Commissioners come to order, please.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve the agenda for today.
I second.
Been moved and seconded. We approve the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed.
Morning, Ron.
Good morning.
Hey, your vital looks really good this morning, Steve.
Yes.
32.
I tell everybody I thank your son. The Milo, all our Milo's real clean, and I don't know why. But
That's really good.
yes. So.
I also make a motion, we approve the previous minutes.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. We approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Also make another motion, we approve to pay the bills, one in the amount of $583,726.66, and a second one for $6,250.
I second.
Been moved and seconded. We pay the bills. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion's passed. That completes all the distributions, or will there be one more distribution?
There's one more.
One more, okay.
For sure. Yeah, there's one more.
Okay.
In November.
Was anybody coming in, Ashley, for either one of our lease,
No.
for the haunted house or the one for next June? Okay, so we can make motions for those, okay. I would make a motion, we approve the lease for the college engineering department to have the haunted house at the livestock building, October 24th through the 25th. And they used the use of the building the week before and a few days after.
I second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion's passed. They have their insurance right here. That's good.
Yep.
Along with that note, after our meeting today, the college is sending a few students and Michael Zimmerman to come out and help William and I clean the loft above that is got a bunch of junk in it that's been there for over 20 years, where we had to repair a couple rafters from the weight of there's metal, wood scrap pieces, some fencing that William talked to Aaron Dewell about keeping. So as far as the two in charge of just disposing it, so after our meeting today, we were going to go out and do a little cleaning to get that weight out of that attic.
I have ventures that some of that's more than 20 years old.
Yeah. Well, I'm going by what William said, how long he's been here.
Ron's laughing because he put some of that up there.
I was going to say, Ron,
As a kid.
do you know about any of that?
Well, so Russell Bridie, who's been gone a few years, but he talked about he was a kid, the kids at the fair used to sleep up there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, they did?
So that was,
Yes.
80 years ago.
Uh-huh.
We used to bed down the cattle with straw, and so they'd take a row of bales and they stacked the bales up there, and then you put your bedroll on top of them
Oh,
bales.
gosh.
Hey, that was an adventure.
Well, you always wonder what the door is when you approach that livestock barn. You see the door on
Yeah.
the top. And that's probably how they got everything in
Yes.
there, because
Yeah.
you can't do it from the underside.
No.
But yeah, there is a lot of junk up there.
If you're doing that, one of the projects, it'd be nice to get those that 4 out and open that barn up someday too.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Ron, that'd be a good project for you, too. Not just friends of the
Fairgrounds.
pavilion, what about of all the 4-H buildings,
Yes.
too? So,
And we have another.
and then we have another Proposed lease agreement with the, is it the YAB? Showmanship?
YGB.
YGB?
Showmanship.
Showmanship Camp. They would like to use the fairgrounds June 6th through the 8th of next year. And I make a motion, we approve that agreement.
I second.
Been moved and seconded, we approve the lease of the fairgrounds on June 6th through the 8th. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed.
We have to make a motion on that resolution 25.
Yes. Is there a number after that, Brett? 25 dash something?
There is, but hold on.
Are you gonna make that motion, Harvey?
Yes.
Is there a number? Yes.
Well, in a second there will be, and I'll write it down on it.
Okay. So I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2510.
10.
2510.
And that is collection of
Tax
Pass.
sale.
past taxes.
I second the motion.
Been moved and seconded, we approve tax sale. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed.
And did you guys see the email that there was a donation from Black Hills Energy to our fire department?
Yes.
And they're using it towards fire hoods and protective gear. I don't think that was in the fire board minutes.
No.
But I just thought that was a nice donation.
They're using it for the Nomax hoods.
Yes.
How much was it, Kevin?
I do not remember.
Okay.
Steve, did you sign the petition on that also, not just the resolution?
No,
Where
There's
the
a,
pink
pink
tab
slip
is?
bucket it.
do we all need to sign or just?
No, just Steve on the
Okay.
petition.
So you've got another one. Yeah, go to Harvey.
If you noticed, when we had our update on our clerk, we collected 98% of the taxes. So it's doing a good job of.
Well, and this one is all residential that is 3+ years delinquent as of today, and all commercial that is 2+ years delinquent. And I think the total tax amount of those 32 parcels is 300-some thousand, so.
Marilyn, you'd have to ask Brian. It was a distribution of a large amount that went to about 10 departments in Kansas, and we got part of it. So you can ask Brian.
I will do it here.
We put in 135,000 worth of safety grants is what the amount was for seven different entities across the state.
Also like to give a kudos for the ATV Air and all of the people that attended the Flatlander Fall Festival. I thought Michael Dorn did a good job bringing in the ATV Air. There was a lot of people out there, and it was a great addition for the weekend. So just like to mention that.
Very well run show that it, kept it moving and stuff. And downtown, of course, with the great moisture, a lot more people from the surrounding area. I talked to two farmers who never been to it before. They didn't realize how many people come to it, but there was a great showing. So.
So Ashley and I had the chance to meet with Kent at the city about different items with the utilizing the fairgrounds for a camper area. There's some variances that we had to apply for. I think city code is anything over 9 campers, you've got to have wash facilities and stuff like that available. The big one will be a variance for sewer. We changed some language in the draft lease agreement that makes it very clear that they have to have it pumped on a regular basis, and any spills or anything need reported, things like that. That still may not be approved by the city. So worst case scenario there is if you're gonna do it, we're gonna have to look at putting in actual sewer fixtures for the campers. The other thing I think the three of you might want to consider on how to handle is, if we have some of these guys in here for 18 months, that's gonna crowd that up for fair time. And so whether we have an additional area that you put some water and electric hookups to accommodate fair, or if we have in the lease agreements that it's understood that 2 or 3 week period, they've got to find someplace else. That's just something you guys should think about as well.
Okay.
Particularly, there's a lot of folks that utilize the camp area during fair, but then primarily everything gets used during that tri-state roll.
Right.
So be thinking long-term about how you want to handle that as well.
So do we have any out there right now?
No.
And so according to regulations, we can only put 9 out there right now, right?
Well,
Is that correct?
without the wash house and stuff like that, but that was one question I don't think we asked Kent, if that 9 with the sewer issue, if that's allowed as well.
When will we know from the city? Like if the variance is approved or what they've decided they'll allow us to do?
We'll keep talking with Kent. He didn't really give us a deadline. When we met with him last Monday or Tuesday, we talked about the sewer issue and how we can firm up the language in the lease that maybe that would help get the variance for a short time period.
Okay.
Because again, we're only looking at these variances for about 18 months, maybe 24 at max. So
our variance hearing is October 21st at 6.
So we're still a little ways away.
Yeah.
That's the hearing, if anybody
That's
objects
what
to it, because I know the property owners around the area did get a notice.
Yeah. So this is for the City of Goodland Board of Zoning Appeals.
Okay.
So,
And we do have water connected now.
yes.
One thing I want to be, it's my understanding there's a lot of other people trying to put in
Places for
parking places,
campers.
right?
Yes.
And I don't want to compete with somebody in our community that, I mean, we were just trying to do that just to help out, and so if there's enough facilities out there that accommodate everybody, then I think we need to walk kind of cautiously on that a little
Well, I think
bit, but.
those individuals will be going through the same process essentially that we are to get different variances. And I've got a feeling, my personal feeling of it is that we probably won't get the variance for the sewer, because if we get the variance, everybody else is gonna get the variance, and I don't see that the city's gonna be willing to accept that for campsites all over town.
Yeah.
So,
I get that.
and then it's down to whether or not the landowner wants to take that expense to put in the sewer and everything else, as opposed to just, hey, I've got a vacant lot, come park your camper.
Okay. So as far as, that's just the city code, right? Now, if they're outside the city limits.
Their property, they can do with it what they want.
The county doesn't have any zoning with the exception of the
When,
wind energy resolution that we put in effect a couple of years ago.
If let's say someone puts some on an empty lot here, does that change the tax code for them?
I have no idea.
I would think it would change it to commercial use, would be my thought.
So we kinda need to be on top of that a little bit too, right?
Rochelle gets
Yeah.
copies of that stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure
Okay.
Rochelle's on top of that.
If somebody comes in right now to Ashley and says they'd like to park out there, are we okay to set a few now? Or do we still have to wait for this?
We need to clarify that with Kent, whether or not
Okay.
that
Whether
up
we
to
need
9,
sewer.
yeah.
Okay,
The way
But-
he said it was kind of like, we get the okay to not have the sewer for the fair because it's the fair.
right,
So I think
even the up to, the 9, I think you still have to have water and sewer available.
okay.
But if you go over 9, that's when the code comes in that you have to have a wash house
Wash house,
facility and
yes,
things like that.
yep.
So my assumption would be is that we've got to have sewer.
But right now, there's nothing, nobody's even asked you, there's nothing at the Smoky,
not that I'm aware of.
okay. Okay. So we're probably gonna need another discussion on that as it moves forward, okay. I'd like to make a motion, though, we go into executive session for 15 minutes for non-elected personnel and commissioners Ashley, Brett.
Second.
Been moved and second, we go into executive session, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Marilyn, motion's passed.
Pardon?
Here's the Meeting will come back to order. Friends of the Fairgrounds.
Hey guys, so it's interesting to come in here 15 minutes before, and 13 minutes of it was talked about the fairgrounds. So, as we all know, a lot of balls around that place out there. And so we're here today about the pavilion part. And actually I went up there Sunday, Marcia and I did, and I walked around that building, and I got on the inside and looked around. And there's a lot of projects that we need to do. And I know we can't do it overnight, but I'm excited to get started, just to get started going on things. And so we brought a bid in for the windows we checked on.
Thank you.
And that's windows, if you notice, that there's windows on the lower level, and then there's windows on the top. And I will have to tell you, I got to laughing. The ones on the top have fiberglass across them. And I can just imagine Jesse Grafton or Earl Finnegan. Oh, there, let's put fiberglass. You know, there's a lot of farmer stuff done up there. You know, and we would like to get those windows replaced, get some light back in that building. The lower windows would come in and do some work around there. Now that'd be the start with this bid. Another thing that we would like to do, I mean, there's a lot, but we're just going to come at you with stages. I mean, because it's the only way we can do it. But one of the things I'd like to look at is getting new doors on that building, because, you know, sometime down the road, I would like to get that thing heated and air conditioned, and because I would like to make that an event center that can be used all year long. And I was down at Hutchinson here a couple weeks ago, and at the fire department, they have the roll-up doors, but when they come down, then you have a walk-in door. So those are made. I think something like that would be cool.
Way back when, there used to be on the main entrance a door, a walk-in door, and a fold-up door.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was it wood, Steve?
It was a wooden door in a metal garage door frame.
Okay. But something like that would be nice. So, because I foresee someday that, you know, people, that's a beautiful building. You know, weddings and events and stuff like that, which gets me to the next part. Okay, you ready? I'm getting ahead of myself on this deal. But I walk in there, and half that building is a storage building. There's a lot of stuff stored in that building.
Right.
You know, so if you want to have an event in there, you can't, because I mean, you got to move everything. So I would really like to see if we could. This county's into building buildings, but get another building built on the fairgrounds, you know, south of the carnival building, where we could actually use that building for storage and use this for events. You know, so in the back of your mind, you know, this is what I'll be. I mean, we're always going to have something to do out there, but I think the first stage is to get these windows in, and maybe see if we can get some doors. And you guys, here's the deal. I'm the draft horse. You just got to keep reining me back or letting me go, because there's lots of things we could do to that building. I mean, it's just, we need to do some upkeep, some maintenance stuff on that building to keep it good, because it is, that building and the Max Jones Fieldhouse are the two greatest buildings built in Sherman County. So, and I would like to get the pavilion back up in its glory. And then we talk about the event we're going to have, and 2027 will be 100 years old. This is my vision. You know, we're going to set that thing up, and I want to try to find some cars from the 1920s and some tractors from the 1920s, and have a celebration and really celebrate our history in Sherman County. And so, but we need to do some maintenance and get the building up and going. So I have lots of visions for the place, you guys, and hopefully we can get some grant money coming down the road, but we also need to do some stuff, just some maintenance from Sherman County to keep our building nice. So you guys just let me know how much range you want to give me, but we're going to have fun with this building. It's something that our forefathers built for us, and it's really, really cool. So
is this the only bid?
Yep.
Or is that the only bidder we have in Sherman County to do glass?
This is the
Goodland
only.
Glass, the only one to.
This is the only one I came up with.
Yeah.
I mean, we could certainly.
I think it is though, isn't it?
Yeah, Hoover, you can order windows through Hoover's, I don't know.
But then you still have to have an installer,
Yeah, you
Yeah.
get a contractor to do
not unless some contractor would want to take it on. But, and I'm not saying he's out of line or anything. I'm just saying, you know,
We
as a
probably
county
need to
side, we
have another idea.
I think if we got another person that would buy the windows and install them, is not a county person, is what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I know, and that would happen, and I don't know how much you want to just do Sherman County stuff, but.
Well, we always want to lean that way, Ron. We want
Yeah.
to kind of keep our money here, but we're also responsible for expenses as well.
Yes,
So,
yes, and that's why I come with you at stages, because it's everybody's got their wants and needs list, and you guys got to take care of so many people. But that's why I know that this is going to be a long-term project, and so but the main thing is we just got to get started.
Yeah.
We got to get started.
And we talked about it a few months ago, and because Harvey brought it up when we were out there one time, and we felt that windows and paint were the two first things that need to happen on that building.
Now, if you're going to paint it, so I looked at it. We're going to have to get that. We can't just paint it. We're going to have to get that thing scraped.
Power washed off.
Yeah.
It's going to be a
there's a
project.
few places need patched
Yes.
Yes.
in that too.
So if you look at another part to be looking at, the bottom of that building where it meets the dirt, that thing's kind of got wore out and got some chips on it. I would really suggest that we lay a strip of cement all the way around that building, at least 4 or 6 foot. I think it would help protect that building and help keep the water out of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a long-term prevention thing for that building. And if you look where the roof comes off, there's some of those rafters that are exposed to the outside. They need some repair work. There's a lot of little things that just need, just like your house, you need to always stay on top of it or it gets away. So, but Aaron says that they got some guys on the fair board that are good at kind of doing those kind of things. And so.
I think like the footers all around the building, we can probably maybe get some county employees to go out there and we do other cement work. We can, do that and pour that to where it.
So actually, how are we at capital outlay fund there? Because that's where this would have to come out of.
Yeah.
Kevin, how much is the bid?
So you see it.
Ron,
Is-
I'm just curious. Is that how you got Marcia? Did you come at her in stages?
Actually, we kind
Did
of
you
did.
start with, you might not like me now, but give me a few stages.
Well, it was a long process. But the final deal was a pretty good seal, so there we do.
Well, this building out there, I really think we'd rather fix it up or it's going to decay worse.
Yeah.
And I'd hate for that to happen.
The last time it was painted, if I recall, is when the restrooms were brand new.
Okay.
That's what I recall. And that's been 30 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
So I do have a question, and I want to talk to you guys about, there's so many things to do on that building. What is the best way to, how do you want to do this?
Well, this is my opinion.
Okay.
You started with the windows. I would start with the foundation and work my way up. We got to make sure that we've got ground level and the support as we're going up to take care of things. The windows, we know we got an idea what them are. So we can get started on some stuff. But I always, either you start and work your way up. The foundation is, we got to protect it and protect that wall that holds everything up. And, that one, we have, Road and Bridge can help us with that, so we have employees that we can pay to come out there and take care of that. And that, cement is going to be the biggest cost. And, but that's
But we can do some of that in stages too.
Yes.
And most of us see the west side of the building whenever there's an event. I didn't look at the east side.
You go around to
but you have the grandstands. I know.
So the part back there where it meets onto the grandstands,
Curves,
there's some issues back there, and you go in and look at that ceiling. I think the main thing we want to protect on that building, other than, the whole thing, but that ceiling in that thing is a work of art, and we need to keep that original. and like it is.
And,
And-
and some of those water stains came from the old swamp coolers that
Yes,
used to be on there
yes.
that rusted through and leaked through the roof, and that's why we got rid of those swamp coolers, because they were shot.
Yeah.
They were just rusted through, and they were just, they were ruining the roof. They were ruining the structure, and so some of that's been fixed. It's just cosmetic at this point. So.
Yeah, but that looks so good. But I guess if we need to work on a plan, and I know the windows are bad, and I guess I think that will change the appearance of that building. So I mean, that's one thing you can do, change the appearance really fast to make it really look good. But then there's all these other things that people don't notice as much, but need to be done.
Yeah.
And but I don't know if we. I hate to come in and ask for money every month, but if we had a budget or something that we could work with and know how much we could do in a specific amount of time, I'm looking for kind of a long range plan on the building. And with the deal that we have trying to have an event in 2 years and sometime in the fall or late summer of 27 for this, really to promote that business or the building. So. We just need some help.
Yeah, well, I think we do need a written plan of priorities. So we know what we want to tackle first, and then we as commissioners can decide how much we can put towards each project. That's the way I feel right now.
Because if we had, you started with the windows.
Yes.
We have a bid on that. If you want cement, get a bid on the cement and what the yardage will be. The nice thing with that one is that we can make that work through the county to, get that put in there. And we just have to know kind of an idea, how many yards of concrete are we gonna need? And, we can make that work. And then what it costs to paint that building, power wash it, strip it down, and paint that, what is that, a 4-foot rim around that?
Probably.
Yeah.
On the to the brick, and then, work on that, and then, long range, what's it gonna cost to insulate that thing? Are you gonna hide your beautiful ceiling?
Well, I think when they put it in they insulated before you put the roof on, you've insulated the top. On the
Correct. So
outside.
the hailstorm of 2016, when they had to replace the dome or all the
Right.
roof, that part was insulated from the outside.
Okay,
So
so
there's
that,
2 inches of insulation.
yeah, so that
So
that
it'd be
one
it'd be the lower level that would potentially need some
Yeah.
insulation that could be put from the underside, but so.
yeah, because that one doesn't. That's just a straight 2x6
Yep.
rafter, I think, or
Yep.
2A.
Yep.
So from what I understand on a time frame, I think the cement, that takes time, but the windows take a long time.
Yeah,
If you order them, it might be 4 to 6 months before the windows get here, and it may take another year to get the windows put in. So that's kind of one of the other reasons we
Right.
started with the windows, because that's a 1.5-year project. So, and that's what we got, and it's it's a wonderful building, and our forefathers did a nice job.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the great grandkids that got to keep the thing running.
yeah.
So to keep it all together.
And so you're thinking of a summer of 27 celebration?
Yes.
And if we could get a few of these things done before then, it would be
We need to
really
plan on
nice.
trying to get the windows would need to be, started in the spring of 26, getting them replaced. Order fairly soon.
Yes.
To get that, and then, as soon as they can start in the spring of 26.
Yeah, I think if we did this, it would, like I said, it'll be a couple. It would. I bet it could be into 26 before the windows even get here. They would start on them, and up to a year to get those things put in. It's a big project. You don't realize how many windows there are till you actually just look at the building.
Yeah.
So
And you're just doing the upper level.
no,
windows.
both.
That's both.
Okay.
That's
Both sets.
levels.
That's
Yeah.
the bottom windows,
Okay.
and they're painted. See, And I think once we get those windows in, that'll really lighten that up in there. And then the top windows are just covered with fiberglass. So there's really no natural light much getting into that building now. So, but you know how, I look at what they did with Central School when they put those new windows on. My gosh, it made it look like a new building. I mean, that really dressed that building up a lot. So windows do a lot. So that's kind of why we come in here with the windows first, because that's kind of, it's going to take us a year to year and a half to get that done. And then we can start working on some of the other things. But like I said, you guys, you got to let me know how far I can go with the reins to do this thing. I'm not a racehorse, but I'm a workhorse. So it takes me a while to get somewhere. But, so I got to have a little leeway, and we'll just keep plugging along on this thing. But
Well, I think we're in favor of doing some things
Yeah.
there. So, you know, we're together there. So I imagine the steps that we need to take where we're comfortable. You know, like if we could approve the windows today, or if you want to take steps and wait and see a bigger plan.
I have a big plan in my head. It's just when I write it down, it's scary how big it is. You know, I mean, it's big.
I'd also like to wait and see what we do on the courthouse too. We're spending a lot of money here.
Yeah.
So I'd like to table it for at least one more meeting and let me think about it too, and see what.
And
See
then,
what
and
Glassman's
in that
has.
time, possibly see if there's another company just to have a comparable bid to compare to, and
Or a contractor in Goodland that might just want to take it on, order
Okay.
windows locally
We
and
do that.
install them.
or
Yeah, it's
or
fine.
I don't know if the carpentry at the tech college.
I think that's a good idea, but sometimes you just don't know where that's
Yeah,
going to go.
yeah, that's exactly right. They don't know how many students they'll
Yeah.
have left
Mhm.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And if it goes into the summer and there's no students, and then they have to, then
Yeah.
fall turns into winter. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
It'd probably be better to go with a contractor.
Yeah.
well,
Is it possible we could post this and
Yeah.
ask for bids?
Ask
I
for
would.
Yes,
I guess I'd feel more comfortable than, me just
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
say, I need a bid from you.
Well, and
get-
that's also
and get
makes it
accused of-
safer for us to approve of
Sure.
it,
Yeah.
to say it
we
was
might find a
posted.
better deal. It's good.
right. And but that way, the public can see that we put an effort out that we need a bid. If nobody wants to bid, we know we have a bid, so we have something to work with.
Are you okay with that?
I'm good. So here's the deal.
It's
It's-
reasonable.
Uh-huh.
I think it's good.
You guys control the reins. You just let me know how far we can go.
I'm not saying we're not going to proceed, because I think it needs done. There is no doubt. We got to do some maintenance on there, or it's gonna, or our kids won't have a building. So,
Let's just say come back on the 14th of October
Okay.
with something, and that way we can keep the ball
I'm
rolling.
thinking straight.
and if you can't be here, just let Ashley know what you found, and then we'll keep a hold of these, okay? And then go from there.
We appreciate your time.
No, thank you.
We'll just keep plugging away at it.
Okay,
Thank you.
sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Well, Mr. Bierman, they used up all your time, so.
All right, have a good day, guys.
Thanks for
I listened
being
to this
here.
Yesterday, it's a really good presentation.
Yes, it is.
See you.
You can,
I don't know if you can go to our
Yeah.
website. I sent you that. Could you go to our website first?
You
Then
better not ran out
I'll get
early.
to
though.
that.
His wife's got a birthday today.
Are you able to go to usd352.org? Okay. Well, thanks for having me today. I just want to bring you up to speed
this
to the
over.
county commissioners, kind of what's going on with the school. Sorry about
Got one
that.
there.
I would take one.
You bet.
Thank you.
So if you could go to that CT Career Tech Ed Bond. So if you've talked to people, visit with people, you guys are leaders in our community, you could reference, hey, there's a lot of information on their district website too. So this is why I'm showing this. Just to lay the foundation a little bit, I could start with this video if that works. You just want to hit play, yeah, they can hear it. Ashley? Brett, you got one of those.
Yeah, I got one yesterday.
Ron should have stayed, that's his granddaughter.
yes,
And maybe they won't be able to hear. Should I stand here in front of this mic? It's okay. They can, it's fine. They can watch it later if we want to. It's just kind of our kids and some teachers talking about the building, et cetera. So if you want to just pull up the PDF I sent you, then we can work from there. So this will be a little clunky because I'll have to say next page, next page, but that'll work. So here to talk to you, inform you about, I gave you a flyer too, some of the same information's in there. My phone number and email's at the back of that. If you have questions or thoughts or email, you can always ask me, and you can ask me questions today, but we'll go ahead and get started. So the next slide, there. So just a little background from a school district perspective. In 2013, this community supported a bond issue, a 20-year bond, to renovate 3 buildings. We basically got it west, north, and the high school, and came back and built those buildings new. And so added some storm shelters, a little bit of additional classroom space, new kitchen at the high school, et cetera. But at the end of the day, that's a $15 million project. I think we're really grateful for that. I don't know where we would be if we had to keep plugging along as we were at that time. So super supportive and thankful to the community that they did that. That was a close vote, and yet I think a lot of the people who have voted that down, I haven't heard a lot of them say that we didn't do a good job, or that they feel like that was a waste, or weren't proud of ultimately what we did. So, but that was a 20-year bond on an $8.75 million increase. That's the authority that was granted to the board on a yearly basis to do that. And at that time, we implemented a 1/4-cent sales tax. Which was at that time, we were the only 3rd school in the state that did that. That was kind of unique and different at that time. But we were looking at a way just to lower the property tax burden. And that sales tax has really paid off, and that's kind of part of the presentation today on that. So we were also able to downsize. We sold off Grant Junior High. You guys know that. It's apartments now. That was part of that project. And the district office across from Central was 2 buildings that we no longer have to encompass and pay for. So next slide. The building we're talking about is, so not in that project. We kind of tried to keep it as small and to scale as we could, as we never touched what we call the Career and Tech Ed building. The blue shed south of the high school, kind of what most people think is our BOAG shop. We never touched that, but that's a 50-plus-year-old building now. It was built in 1971. There's some major issues there that the board has been having to deal with and plan for. The biggest one is electrical. We blow breakers when we plug new equipment in, and it wasn't just designed for some of the equipment needs that we have today in some of those areas. And so electricity is a big issue. It keeps us from not accessing everything that we want to access, and it's difficult sometimes. The new way to do it is to bring it from the ceiling down instead of building an outlet where you think a piece of equipment should be, and then you find out later you're not going to put it there, or floor outlets, etc. That just doesn't provide the flexibility you want. So from a welding perspective, we have ventilation issues that are code violations that we have to address. It doesn't have HVAC, so part of the previous bond was that we were putting in HVAC in all the buildings and having a great learning environment. Now our students go in from that learning environment to a learning environment where that's not in play. Our teachers have to deal with that on a 90-degree day, what it's like in that building. So that's a little bit of an issue for us. It's just an old, inefficient building. Restrooms would not surprise you are out of compliant. They're not the ADA in a 1971 shed that was built for that. The bigger issue, though, is not just the restrooms. It's the plumbing underneath. We have to quite a bit shut down our restrooms for students until we can get somebody to kind of pump it through, push it through, however you want to define that without getting into great detail. But plumbing issues are going to be an issue for us too on that. So next slide. There's flyers too, if you guys want one, you can, right there. So kind of in addition to those issues, we have some needs today that we didn't even really know about in 2013. We have robotics now. We really didn't define a space where we were going to do that. So that's been taught out of in the basement in a storage place that we had. Broadcasting and multimedia was something we didn't do in 2013 that we do now. Science Olympiad is probably our most proud program that we have in the whole district. And yet we don't really have a defined space for our kids to work on that project and expand their learning in that. So, and then starting with the class of 2028, the state is requiring an hour of STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So we've been talking about a STEM lab for a while. Obviously, this credit thing makes that a bigger issue for us to deal with, is how to accomplish that credit once that credit's required for every student. So we were going to make what's called a STEM lab. That's what you see right up here. If you don't know what a STEM lab is, it's that. That's not going to show up on the TV, is it? With the red light. Right there's the STEM lab. But basically, that's just a module environment. You could pick a different module if you want a wind energy, an aviation one, an engineering one. Lots of different modules that you can put into a STEM lab that kids get exposure to different areas. And we'd probably run all of our 7th and 8th graders through the STEM lab as part of career awareness, what's out there, perk interest, et cetera, and then on into high school. And then just the need, they talked about it in the video if you want to watch it, just the need to have a space where we can work on projects. We just don't have that in the high school right now. The top left-hand corner is what you'd kind of see as a maker space, and act as a secondary classroom. We have that in the project as well. So next slide. Last year we were approached about partnering with Butterfly Aviation to be one of 3 schools in the state to offer an aviation pathway through Wichita State. We were excited to do that. We were making really good progress on that. And then it kind of came to a little bit of a pause, a halt. I think there's still an opportunity there. But a lot of that came down to where are we going to do that. So just those opportunities, you never know when maybe those come up. That's a concrete example. I think there's a lot of potential on the wind energy front to tap into that for our career kids to take advantage of. And just continue exploration of work-based learning and career and technical education types of programs. For us, those are really high-wage, high-demand jobs that are out there, and those are jobs that kids can come back to Goodland and do. And I think that's key for us in our rural setting here in Goodland of how can we educate our students to go out and do great things, but yet come home and those are jobs here that can be had. So we're excited to do that. Next slide. So here's just some quotes I have that just talk about the importance of career and tech ed, what it can do for students, the net result of that. Next slide. Talks about different things from real world skills that they can get in those classrooms. Next slide. Some research into that your graduation rates are typically higher. This quote's 10% for career and tech ed learners. That wouldn't be surprising. It's hands-on, it's excitement, it's what kids want to do. Next slide. And just really like FFA and some of those other leadership programs are just things that you can't get out of a general ed classroom sometimes and are easier in that type of environment. So next slide. This whole PowerPoint's on the website too if you ever want to go back and look. So it kind of feels like this career and tech ed building, when did this start? It's like, wow, here it is. What's the school doing? But actually it's been a conversation for a lot of years at the board level of what to do. We've had this issue of a 50-plus-year-old building, all the things I talked about. And the board was really struggling with, do we dump money into that old building? Do we remodel? What do we want to look at doing? And so we did look at a remodel plan for $2.7 million. I'll share that with you in a second. And add it on to increase the square footage to 14,000. Or we could build a new facility for $4 million and have 16,800. And that's ultimately the proposal that's coming before the community in November, is to build just a new facility. So next slide. I'll walk you through a little bit of the discussions and how the board arrived at where we are today. The first kind of early discussion was kind of a directive a little bit. Bill, we need to save some money, kind of that. We need to save some money in order to do this. And so we kind of went at it at that for a while. We had about $750,000 in capital outlay about 6-7 years ago. That's kind of a baseline that we really never want to dip below. Always the rainy day. What happens? Roofs. You guys know that. I just heard you talking about that. So we don't want to dip below that, but we needed to move that up. And so depending on the year, we were able to kind of capture a little bit of savings, and we have built that fund up for the last 7 years. And we have $1.5 million in that now. The biggest year was we actually saved about, not savings, but we were able to kind of take $300,000 of capital outlay and move that needle. That was a year in which nothing really ever happened, and so that was a good year for us. Typically, it's more like 100, 150. But anyway, we were able to get to 1.5. I think what we realized, though, is we're never going to catch the number. It was a good thought, but the reality of us trying to save $200,000 a year or something to get there is we're never going to get to $4 million doing it that. We're never going to be able to write the check. So we kind of had to abandon that. Okay, so next slide. Then the conversation moved to lease purchase, kind of what, like the thought process being, well, instead of saving to write a check, could we take the same money and make a payment, right? Like a mortgage. In the world of schools and municipalities, that's called lease purchase, right? So could we get a local financial institution, a bank, to $4 million own the facility, and basically we're paying, leasing it, but eventually we're going to own it, lease purchase. And so the thought process a little bit is there. We're operating at 6 mills in capital outlay for the last several years. We could raise that. The board has the authority to go to 8 mills. So we could do a 2 mil increase. That's a tax increase in order to kind of take $200,000 a year plus a little savings and kind of arrive at this $350,000, $400,000 annual payment. That was a deep discussion for a while. Were we going to go that route? When we were kind of getting to the end, we realized lease purchase are going to typically be in the 6 to 7% range, kind of like a mortgage on a house. And that amounted to about $700,000 in interest versus a bond. Because a bond, we can get around 2.7%, 3%. So just evaluating the difference in interest cost from a 6% lease purchase to if we could secure a bond was 3%. And the number we got told on the difference in that would be $700,000. Well, that's taxpayer money going towards interest. So then we decided to move on to another plan. Next slide. So we were in a meeting, and I was showing them sales tax data that we had. I'm going to share that with you in a little bit. So suddenly we were in this conversation of this 1/4 cent sales tax that we have for this bond, the current one. And we started talking about opportunities and what to do with that. And so next slide. And so the board kind of talked about the advantage of the sales tax, like what it was generating for the school on this bond. And obviously for us, we're one of a few what's called a plus county sales tax. In other words, there's a greater percentage of non-Sherman County residents that pay this sales tax than Sherman County residents. Obviously, that's driven from the interstate. People coming off the interstate, buying gas, buying food, etc. So how do we take advantage of possibly that to ease the burden on the local property tax? And we can get the bond interest rate with that, similar to what we're currently doing. The school cannot issue a sales tax. We had to go to the city. We did that in February to ask, can we put on the ballot in November the 1/4 cent sales tax extension? So that's on the ballot. And I'll kind of explain that here in a little bit more. So you can go to next slide. This is just data that I've collected every month for the life of our bond. You can see that the schedule of that, you can't see it in this, but our amortization schedule for our 20-year bond had the 1/4 cent sales tax bringing in $250,000 a year. We've exceeded that every year, which is great. Okay. And right now we're pulling in, if you look at the end, $400,000 a year off that 1/4 cent sales tax to help pay for our bond. It's brought in about $3.5 million. So that's $3.5 million that didn't go in property tax. So that's why the board kind of wanted to look at that option again. Anytime you guys have questions, you can ask me or to clarify. You don't have to wait till the end. Next slide. So once we kind of the board, all that was a 5-10 minute discussion that really took us 3 years to get to. Okay, but the proposal right now is to build a new facility on the lot west of the high school, kind of under the parameters of a bond plus sales tax, just like last time, and I'll explain that. So if you could go next slide. So we own the house on the north side of that vacant lot. That's where we've been putting new teachers in for the last 5, 6, 7 years as a recruitment tool. We would get rid of that house. But when we do that, some people have asked, well, Bill, does that even increase square footage for you? Are you gaining anything? Well, this little diagram shows you our current building is 9,800 square feet. That lot would be 24,000. So that shows you that lot will be substantially larger than we currently have available where our career and tech ed building is now. So next slide. This is just a slide that showed we did look at the remodel of the current facility. That's in green, gutting the shed and coming back, and then adding on to the west a little bit, what's in pink, to increase some of the class sizes that we talked about earlier. We did several renderings and drawings and kept trying to get it how we wanted to, and ultimately we walked away from it. We were having struggle with the roof, getting the roof to match up, what that would look like, and really weren't getting even the spaces we wanted to out of it anyway. And for $2.7 million, the board walked away from that and decided to go new. So next slide. So the program that we have, the building that we have, shows you here right west of the high school. It shows a welding lab, ag classroom on the bottom. I don't have my pointer here, but an industrial arts wood shop area on the top. Both are larger, 600 square feet, larger than what they currently are. An art room, and then the robotics / makerspace / secondary classroom, a STEM lab, multimedia broadcasting studio, some of the spaces that were needed now we have in that facility as well. So next slide. So this is what that would look like. It's directly front door to our current high school. It goes across Cherry Street to that lot. A couple of advantages we think for that front door is safety and visibility of our students. Right now they leave the south door of the high school, walk diagonally across the street. There's just a lot of visibility issues with that, however you define that. So they'll be more visible. We keep our eyes on them. So going across the street, this new building will have a safe and secure entrance, just like our high school. The current one doesn't have that. And we're just trying to really make even though it's across the street, making a building that is does what we need it to do, isn't extravagant, meets our needs, yet you don't drive by and like, what is that building? Like, is that even part of the school? So the directive really to our architect was we want to build a metal building. We don't want it to look like a shed. We don't need to be extravagant, but we want to tie it into the school somehow. There's some different opinions on that. I can tell you after my 9 meetings yesterday on some people feeling like that's not enough. Some feeling like, why are we doing the brick? Like that's too much. So I'm just telling you that's what the board told the architect to do. Find a balance between we want to make it look like it belongs, that people drive by and know that that's part of the school system, but yet we don't need a Taj Mahal either. So that's what we did. Another point I'd like to make on this is we talked to the city in February about it really helped if we're going to do this project to turn Cherry Street into a one-way. The city agreed to do that should this project move forward. So Cherry Street right now is not a one-way like it shows here. It would become a one-way, angled parking, and just help with the traffic flow and congestion there as well.
Is that just that block or?
Just that block.
Okay.
And that's a city decision. I don't get to control the streets, right? So they know our plan and they approved to turn Cherry into a one-way contingent on November election, right? So, but not continuing it all the way,
Right.
just for that block, okay? If you go next slide, this is just another visual then what that would look like. Really these cutouts, and there's money in the bond in the project to help with the curb and guttering part of it too. So not just the building, but this kind of what they call a curb out kind of signifies, hey, there's a crosswalk here, etc. And obviously there'll be a school zone to slow traffic too, but that should help. So next slide, just some more pictures. Next slide. This is the south side of the building. Next slide. So here's some pictures of what new facilities would look like. When I talk about the electricity coming down from the top in the pictures on the right, you can see in the ag classroom welding part, electricity's coming from the top. There's no trip hazards, more flexibility depending on where equipment is to be more flexible with that. Same thing in the wood shop area. A broadcast studio, what does that look like up in the left-hand corner? When I talked about better ventilation for welding labs, that's what's in the lower middle. And then the maker space is just that secondary classroom is what you see in the left-hand column on the bottom. Next slide. So how do we do it? Well, if we look at our current 20-year bond is what's on the left, right? That we have a few more years to go. So the bond again was 8.75 mils. We had this 1/4 cent sales tax coming in with that. So that was supposed to end in 2033. The good news is we're set to pay that thing off in late 2029, early 2030. So almost 4 years early. So that's a win for this community, right? That's a huge win for this community that the school board, because the couple factors, sales taxes generated more than we thought. The board actually refinanced our bond twice through the process, once in 2014, once in 2016. So we got an even better interest rate than originally programmed. And then assessed valuation went up a little bit early. You guys know this from a county perspective. It flatlined and is down a little bit, but that kind of jump-started that initial 8 mil generated more dollars than originally thought. So anyway, through all of that, even though it was scheduled to go to 2033, again, we don't have the exact date to call the bond, but sometime in late December, early 2033, we'll be done with that. So that really was a conversation the board had then. Well, maybe this tech ed building was more feasible. And mainly because now if you move to the right, if we pass a successful bond election sales tax question in this November, a little over a month from now, what would happen is basically, and this is why I say we're not raising anybody's taxes, the sales tax goes away when the bond goes away. Okay, so sometime in that 29-30 range, the current 8.75 bond goes away. The 1/4 cent sales tax is tied to that, goes away. So what we'd be asking for is a 6-year basically extension of the 1/4 cent sales tax and a 6-year bond, okay, to build this facility. The bond would lower the bond amount from 8.75 to 3.3. So we're lowering taxes 5.4 mils to just 3.3 for 6 more years. That's contingent on whether we can get that 1/4 cent sales tax for 6 more years as well. If you wanted to look at it as a perspective of the 20-year bond was originally designed to go to 2033, we're really just asking for 3 more years in that scenario. But because we're able to pay it off early, this became a feasible, realistic option we thought we'd present, because we really feel like from that perspective, we're not raising taxes. We're just going to extend them a little bit. A conversation on this one, even in the meetings I did yesterday, was, well, Bill, if we're used to paying 8.75, and if you look up there, why don't we just keep doing that in 31, 32, and 33, and we'd probably be done in 3 years? That's a valid point. The reason why the board went this route was we felt like we owed the taxpayers at the end of this bond to be done with it and lower property tax. We need to do that instead of just keeping it there, right? Now, we are asking for a little bit more of an extension with the 3.3, but they felt like it was important to go ahead and do that part, lower it. But that's a discussion point, and under their plan, this was what they approved and are taken to the polls in November. Any questions on that? Another way to look at that, next slide, is if we looked at it as a 20-year bond that was, the board was given the authority for 8.75 mils. If we ran it for 20 years, the total mils that could have been charged for the current bond would have been 175 total mils for 20 years. The board only twice maximized their authority, the second year and the fourth year, if you look at the next column, where they actually did 8.75 mils. So they rarely have maximized that. The green is where we are today, this budget year. The board is doing 8.543 mils to this current bond project. But even in the next 4 years, if the board maximizes their authority and goes 8.75 to when we can pay it off at the end of 29, the total mils would only be 147 versus what kind of the voters had signed up for in the 20-year bond. So even by extending the 3.3 for 6 years, that would total 19.8. So if you add the two numbers together, in a way we're getting that building, the $4 million building, and still not meeting the total mils that we could have in the 20-year, $15 million bond. I think that's something for us to look at. Now that's good news, right? That's great that we're able to pay it off early and do those things, but it's also why the board, I think, is looking at doing this now. Next slide. This is just some, again, this is on the, you guys could go back later and look at what's this mean for me as a taxpayer. And again, this is just the school bond, doesn't take into account all the other taxes that people get. But if you had a $200,000 home on our $15 million 20-year bond that we're paying right now, 8.75 mils was about $200 a year, 55 cents a day. When we slide or get to this 3.3 mils, it'd be looking at $75 a year, 21 cents a day for 6 more years. And you could look at, next slide, commercial property and ag property are in there too. So next slide, you guys can look at what a quarter of ground, what that would mean. You know, it's less than half, right? Because it's 8.75, we're taking 5.4 off to 3.3. So next slide. The other thing it would allow us to do is continue to downsize the facilities we have. So we feel like we want to, even though we're vacating the current Career and Tech Ed building number 1, that we want to keep that facility. We own the maintenance shop north of Casey's, right over here, right, is our maintenance shop. We would look to move the maintenance shop into our current Tech Ed building and make that our grounds and maintenance. So we'd be selling off this property, this shed over here north of Casey's. We'd look to do the same thing with number 3. There's a Quonset that sets over by Wheat Ridge. The district owns that. I don't know if you're aware of that. We use that for storage. Just like anything, if you have a building that big, you fill it up, right? So it won't be a bad thing for us to downsize, make some priorities there. But we could certainly move number 3 into number 1 too, as far as let's move our storage for the district into our current Career and Tech Ed building. So our current Career and Tech Ed building number 1 becomes grounds and maintenance, district storage, and the final one would be number 4. We own this little bitty, it's not a house, it's not really a commercial property, a building, kind of catty corner to the early childhood playground at Central. That's called our warehouse. That's where shipments come in, FedEx, UPS, etc. And then we farm it out. But we could move number 4 into number 1 too. And so basically downsizing those 3 buildings, selling off those properties, getting those on the tax rolls, and we'd push everything into our career. And that'd be more efficient for us, logistically makes sense for us to have that now right next to our biggest footprint, the 712 building, Max Jones Fieldhouse, etc. Next slide. So the net result is that our students don't have to wait. We can begin construction on this in March, April of this current year on a successful November ballot. And we don't have to wait for costs to continue to escalate. Like, we can do this now. The savings, again, I shared with you, is about $700,000 interest in a lease purchase versus getting bond interest rate. That's important. I think there's a lot of grant opportunities. We didn't put any equipment in this $4 million project. If nothing happens, we can use existing equipment until we can get to that level. I think there's a lot of opportunities for grants to get some new equipment in the hands of our kids by doing that too. certainly will be a recruitment and retention tool for the district as far as in this teacher shortage issue we're in. Board could offset some of the mill levy with capital outlay dollars that they've been trying to save towards this project, and now we don't need to. And again, if I haven't said it already, this is not an additional quarter cent. It's just extend the current one we have for a few more years to fund the project when the current bond is done. So questions you guys might have, or information I need to clarify, or what we're doing, why we're doing it.
At one point, Bill, you were talking about doing the front of the field house.
Yeah,
Is that on hold then, and this is priority?
this is priority.
Okay.
And so, honestly, again, differences of opinions. Some people have asked me to put that project up with this.
Yeah, I get it.
I think you know how it works. I mean, we're just trying to keep it simple, one thing. There certainly would be, that would be nice to renovate the front of the Max, and you've seen that pictures, I've talked about that. But we got to get this project done and see if that's even feasible once this is done. Because if this doesn't happen, the board's got really tough decision then to make, because the issues of the electrical and plumbing and some of the spaces doesn't go away. Now what? So this is priority number one, okay? Good question, though. That's been asked in several of the other meetings. I still think there's an opportunity there to do that privately through some funding mechanisms, whatever, people donating. We might go that route, but we're going to get this part done first. What other questions? Anything? Clear as mud?
Appreciate you coming up and giving us.
Appreciate you having me. I appreciate it. Just trying to get the word out so people have the facts and everything like that. This PowerPoint, I'd like to say this because it's out there that we paid money for a marketing campaign. We haven't spent $1 of taxpayer dollars on any of this. All this PowerPoint is Bill Bierman working with the board for that information. I did not pay somebody to come up with that. The brochure, same thing. That's Bill Bierman and the board's ideas. We haven't paid $1 for anybody to put those ideas and comments, and the same thing with the videos. So, any other questions? You guys let me know. I'd be happy to share.
I have one question.
Yep.
So the PowerPoint, is it available? Well, it's on your website.
It's on our
right?
website.
So the citizens can see it.
Absolutely. It's
Okay.
there just like
Okay.
that.
Right.
Part of my motive today is I know you guys stream too, so people can listen.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's another avenue for me to get the word out, so I
And if-
appreciate that
If
opportunity.
anybody has questions, they can call the central office, right?
Call central office, email me, bill.bierman@usd352.org, or just stop by and visit.
And thank you, Bill.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
you.
Bill.
Mr. Glassman.
Well, there we are. Bill?
Yes.
I figured so.
There you go.
I would like to say something. I'm Joe Glass.
Yes.
I think I mentioned
Yeah,
before.
Yes.
I'm a former chairman emeritus of the Kansas Technical Authority Board of Regents. I was the original one. I served president for 4 years. I served on the Kansas Technical Authority for 10 years. I know a lot about this subject, a lot, okay? We promote technical education all over the state of Kansas and Nebraska. We just had this visit this morning. We are dying for young people to go to work for us, and they are top wages. Don't make the mistake of not supporting this. This is a huge, huge step forward for small communities. It doesn't all have to come out of cities. We're trying to get young men and women, and I say young men and women, to go to work for us in the communities they're living in. The Hoxies, the Colbys, the Burlingtons, the Goodlands, okay? We want them to stay right there. We'll hire them because it saves us travel. We're sending men in many, many cases 300 miles a day to do services that we could hire and put in communities and support communities and actually probably put in offices and so forth if we had enough men in regional areas. The concept is pure. There is such a lack of technical trained people or people that don't want to work, okay? And we all know that, okay? But it's an understatement. I also serve with the Associated General Contractors that work with, we have them working right now with 4 Days Tech Hayes, and we're going to get them out to Goodland as well. They also work close with school districts, and when you have a technical profession in your districts, they bring in aid through the state of Kansas that's already there to help pay for your expenses for the kids. And also I join people like me to go in and help people, these kids get an education, and they back me up and give us some of our money back for expenses. And that's a big deal. And a lot of people in school districts are unaware of this and aren't charging it. And so when you have a technical authority that is that strong, that is willing to put this in place, you don't want to miss this. Because, you know, for years we talked about the brain drain, right? I was a city commissioner in Hayes, and we had the same thing that you had. Everything going to Dallas and Kansas City and Denver, and we got to keep them home. We got to figure out a way to do this. There's a huge demand for technical education people, and I could talk to you about probably 10 different disciplines. And the demand is the same all the way across the board. So I want to compliment you for doing what you're doing. This is what a lot of other districts need to be doing, is getting in the ballgame.
Yeah. I appreciate your testimony on that. Also, I wanted to point out, I forgot to, we're doing the construction management at risk thing again. Bart's Construction won that contract, which just means they oversee the project. They have to bid out everything as a line item. So there's certainly great opportunity for our local contractors to get in on this, because they'll bid electrical as a separate deal, plumbing as a separate deal, HVAC, all of it will go separate. Steel erection will be a bid, concrete will be a bid. All those different things are opportunities for local contractors to get in. So I want to point that out to you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Collect my money later.
Well, if we pass it, maybe.
I'm doing a job with Bart's and Tribune right now.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Good morning.
Good
gentlemen.
morning.
How are you?
Good.
Oh, goodness. Well, if you've gotten your documentation, you fared pretty well on the sewer line and the
Yes.
asbestos. So
Asbestos
you're out of the
report.
woods.
Good.
So it's
Good.
time to fish or cut bait. If you're ready to go, I think it's time to sign the agreement if you're ready to go, and we'll move forward and set a schedule.
I do believe we're ready to
You
jump
guys
forward.
have any questions for them?
No, good. I was pleased with the, like you said, the scoping of the sewer lines looked like we had, you know.
You actually have a stack that looks pretty good, and this is how I'm going to approach this. And I told you this the last time. I'm going to be straightforward and fair with you guys. If I decide not to do something,
Right.
I'll base it on a reason, and I'll give you that reason, and you'll decide with me, and we'll credit that back. And I'll be fair with the credits and tell you what we're going to do. Right now, what needs to happen is before Christmas and the snow falls, I want to get this sewer in.
Right.
We'll probably start the project late this year or right after the first of the year, as far as inside. So we'll work in the wintertime, let it snow, and do the rest of it. And I want to see each stack, how we go, what it's going to look like. If it really looks good, we're going to save you the expense, and we'll deduct it back out with a deduct change order. Okay? Fair enough? But I got to see it.
Okay.
That's part of the key here. My people and I, we need to look at it visually to make sure that you don't have the formation of a crack coming forward that you have to go back in and tear a wall, because you could do that anyway. But if we can get it done, we'll get it done. But all in all, I was very happy with what they scoped, and the asbestos was not present. And my guess was, at the last time I was here with you, was that it was too old, and it was.
Mm-hmm.
Asbestos came aboard about 1955, so you're in good shape. So we're good to go. Other than that, we need to sign 2 acceptance proposals, and we'll set a schedule.
Well, I make a motion. We approve the contract with Glassman's and start our replumbing project of the courthouse.
A second?
Been moved and seconded. We agree with the contract with Mr. Glassman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is passed.
Today is the 29th, is that right?
30th.
Time flies when you're having fun.
No kidding.
You just need one. You need Steve to sign, or you need all
2
of us?
copies. I'll take one. I'll leave the other one with you.
Okay.
We appreciate all the work you've done just to
No
get us
problem.
to this point too.
You're welcome. You know, I get a lot of people talk to me about what we do. We do a little bit different than a lot of other people do. I'm a believer in research. And you do your research up front, not later. Some things you can't research, you know, what's in a wall, but we try to make an educated guess, and it really leads to a lot better relationship with your clients in the long term, so.
And so the first thing you'll do is replace that section from the building out.
Yes, we'll be in touch with maintenance.
Yeah, to get
And
that
then we'll
done.
schedule that, and we'll see, get this in and see how it looks towards the street. If it's okay, we're gonna leave it. If it's not okay, I'll be back here, and I'll be telling you we're gonna tear up the street and see what the cost is.
Okay.
So you just keep one of them, I'll keep the other one.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you, Joe, very much.
Find me some help.
Keep working the schools.
We have been. I mean, we're overwhelmed. I'm not,
Yeah.
you cannot believe the amount of work we have.
Yeah.
It's all the way from, we're working the entire first tier of counties in Colorado all the way to Manhattan and into Nebraska. But it's because we do mostly commercial, and that there's not that many people around that do commercial. They're coming out of the big cities. So we're trying to combat that and use our own people. We like to have our own people doing it,
Yeah.
live right here. So, okay, well,
We
thank you all. I
appreciate
won't
it.
take any more of your
Okay,
time.
thank you. We'll be in touch.
I will.
Got us back on close to time, Rhonda, so.
Just leave it.
Just you?
Yep, you're up.
It's a hot seat now, huh?
Okay. Our things out here, guys. Let's see. Go, Kevin.
You just,
Just pass
I
them
can pass
around.
it around here.
Thank you.
Guys, it's your legs. Snow's not flying yet, guys, so.
let's hope not.
Feels like summer this week.
It's a nice drive this morning, so I like days like this. Just gonna kind of get you guys up to date on kind of where we're at on our utilization for our Blue Cross and Blue Shield. If you'll flip with me in your little booklet there, we're gonna go through our last year end to kind of fill you in on where we ended up for the 2024-2025 plan year. And that will be on page 2. Stephen, you snuck over there real quick. This is our full year, starting March 1st of 2024, got us through February of 2025. If you'll go down to the total line and to your right, I have highlighted the number of stop-loss claims that we had in this time period. We had 10 for the prior year. The little blue line right in the next tier there is how much Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas paid over and above for stop-loss claims for anyone who hit 40,000 above that. Blue Cross paid the 600 and 3,000 in out of their pocket or out of their stop-loss coverage. If you'll keep going across, we ended up with 1,285,458 in claims. We did not hit our attachment point, which we like, so we had a lot better year. This prior 24-25 year, we have about a little less than a couple 100,000 that we kept in the bank, which we like. So we're running just a little bit above expected. I think we were right about 80% versus our 75%, 80-some%. So again, that money just gets to accumulate here rather than spending it on claims. So we recouped after the prior year. If you'll go down right below that, you'll see we had 12 stop-loss claims in 23-24. Blue Cross paid over $2 million in claims over the stop-loss. And we did hit our maximum exposure in that 23-24 year of the 1.297 thousand. The thing I like about this report is it gives us kind of the current and the prior 4 years. So if you'll keep going with me, the next one, the 22-23 year, we had 7 stop-loss claims. Blue Cross paid $840,000 above the stop-loss, but we still came in under our max exposure. We ended up with $992,000 in claims, and our attachment point was $1,107,000. So that year ended up being okay considering where we thought we were going to be in that 22-23 year. The 21-22 years right below that, we had 11 stop-loss claims that year, and Blue Cross paid out $660,000 above the stop-loss. You ended up in those two, you'll see that at the end, we did hit our maximum exposure in 21 and 22 as well. Then there was the prior year, the 2021 plan year. We had 5 stop-loss claims, kind of falls over, or excuse me, 6, I believe, on that next page. And Blue Cross paid $380,000 over that. And we had a pretty good year that year. We had $724,000 in claims. And again, considering that was kind of COVID heavy at that point, you did not come close to hitting your max. So you were a little bit under expected that year. So all in all, you know, out of the 5 years, 3 of those years, we have been kept in the black. So the next one is our current plan year, letting you know where we're at this point. We have had on page 5, we've had 1 stop-loss claim, and Blue Cross has paid $75,000 over the stop-loss. The county's paid $476,000, and our worst-case scenario at this point is $744,000. So we're running really good at this point in time. And again, we've just kind of went through those prior years right below, but you've got that 24 plan year showing 24-25 where we ended up there. We're back in the black, so, and staying there so far this year, which is always good to hear instead of being neck and neck with that stop-loss coverage. Our utilization analysis, this is for the current, the prior, and the past prior years. If you'll look at page 7, the Affordable Care Act, preventative services, these are the good claims. These are the claims we want to see money spent in. These are the items that are 100% on your plan, and getting people to hopefully use some of these services will save the plan money and save them healthcare medical conditions going forward. So in the current plan year, in the green down at the bottom, we've had $22,000. Of course, this is not a full year. The past prior, $41,000, and the prior and the past prior are both in that $41,000 mark. But again, we're not near through the year yet, so we'll be looking at probably closer to, we're about a little over halfway through, and that's about a full year on the other two. So I think we're in good shape there. On page 8, if you'll go across with me under the plan paid, right above the green line, this year we paid $273,000. The prior year, which was March, Blue Cross ran this March through December. I'm not sure exactly why. Last year, that was the prior year was $912,000, and the past prior was that $2,365,000. That really tough year that we had. Your pharmacy this year is lower than the prior, $256,000. Prior was $385,000, and the past prior was $349,000. Excuse me. So you can see that current $529,852 is the total plan paid through August of this year. The prior year through December was almost $1.3 million, and that past prior, that $2,700,000. So we're back in where, you know, kind of we normally have been, kind of running that expected or lower. So you're running really well. Chronic conditions on page 9, anywhere there's an asterisk on the left there, Blue Cross has nurses and their physicians on staff that can help with questions if you need it on those chronic conditions. On page 10, these are our high-cost members. Obviously, they're de-identified. There's no HIPAA information here. But it just kind of goes through, again, the top items. So if you look at page 10, you're really running really well. You'll see that first claimant had a 289% of the stop loss through this time period. But this current plan year, they've only had $343 in claims. So again, we're moving in the right direction. That prior year was a high cost claim year. So I don't see anything really too heavy as far as looking at some really big claims at this point. That kind of comes over on page 11, but the most of these employees down here have terminated from the county. They're either retired or no longer on the plan. So on page 12, your top diagnosis. Preventative care is your top diagnosis at 52 claims, which is pretty good to see. Just gives you overall, these kind of are the normal conditions that we see on most plans. They're just, for you guys, that preventative popped right out clear at the top there. So that's a good thing. Top providers, I think that's always good to know where your employees are getting care. You can see the first one is prescription drugs, and that is Blue Cross's specialty drug vendor, that Accredo Health. You have your second top provider is Walmart's pharmacy. Then you can see your hospital is your third highest provider at $56,784 that's been paid. So just kind of gives you an idea where people are going for care. And it's what dollars we're seeing staying here. Any questions? On page 14, you guys have questions on that one, Stephen? Harvey?
No.
Okay. I didn't know if there was a provider you had a question on there.
Just looking at where everybody's going.
Who's making some money off of you guys? On page 14 and 15, this claim stratification, it's just kind of interesting, I think, to see, for instance, the total counts. It's not just your employees. This includes dependents. For instance, currently, if you'll look under district members, there's 44 enrolled, whether it's your employee or their dependents, that have had 0 claims. So there's 44 people in your group that have not even had a claim this year. From a penny to 1,000, we've had 113 people. So again, they're not hitting their max out of pocket or anything. So utilization is low there. The 1,000 to 10,000, we've had 47. 10,000 to 50, we've had 12, and only 100,000 and over. So again, it just kind of puts in perspective. There's so few people in those high cost claims, and the rest is just, holding down the fort, so to speak, just the average. I think it kind of, when you see the years that you've had high claims and you just think, okay, my gosh, our group's in trouble, you realize that most of your group is really healthy. It's just a handful of people. So if you go down to the one right below that, you'll see we had 2 in the prior year over the 100,000. And then if you'll go to the next one, the past prior, we had 2 again. So, and we know from our claims, those were really high dollar claims, but somehow to me it makes me feel better when I see the percentage that's in that other side. It's like, okay, we can get through this because we are mostly healthy. COVID, you've had 2 claimants with nothing paid, so I don't know why we have 2 there, but for some reason Blue Cross has 2 there. And they did happen in June, whatever those 2 were, but there's no cost. I don't know why, so I guess, hey, if we didn't have any cost, that's a good thing, I guess. On the telehealth, you've had $5,045 used on the telehealth. The one thing that I'll mention on the telehealth, the nice thing is again, it's a lower cost of care for a self-funded plan. If you have an office visit here, it may be $120 to $150, and your employee is paying half of that. Where the telemedicine, they're still paying half, but it may be a $80 visit versus $120. And it's also handy if you don't have that app on your phone from Blue Cross. I suggest you do. If you're traveling, forgot your blood pressure medicine, they can help you get that. I had a teacher that was in Oklahoma, and she called me. She goes, "I think I have pink eye," and I think a teacher would probably know that. So what do I do? And I said, well, try your telehealth. So she sat in her car, did the thing, and they called a prescription into Walgreens down there for her, and she was good to go. So again, those kinds of things happen. It's good to use if you're traveling. If nothing else, it's kind of a little peace of mind that I can call the doc if I need to. The pharmacy on page 20. Again, we talked about that a little bit. The plans paid the $256,000. It goes across the prior and the past prior there for you. And again, your top pharmacy medications on page 21. And the nice thing is there's a couple on here that will probably have what they call a biosimilar available. It's not a generic, but it's, again, the biosimilar is just a little bit different and a little more costly than a generic. But some of these will be going to that and biosimilar, which will save some money. I think that Stellara might be one of those, and it's a pretty expensive one. So some of those costs will go down a little bit. On page 22, I always like to share with you, because the county pays 100% of your plan for everybody, which is a gift in itself. But this is just to let you know kind of what they're paying out of their pocket for their 50-50 share pay. And this is through August. Your employees since March have paid the $80,701.98 in their 50-50. $18,021 in copays, and the total is $98,723 that the employees have paid out of their pockets for medical care. So since March, that's quite a bit of money.
Yes.
But not having to pay the premium definitely
But you
helps.
think of how many we're covering, with dependents too. That's probably not real bad. Then.
But again, they have a little skin in the game.
Yes.
So, which is, if you hit 2 family members on that $1,500, that's $3,000 out of your pocket.
Yes.
But yes, overall, it's that loss ratio there is pretty good
right.
on the employees' end. The dental, you're running really well. You've had only 14,000 in dental claims, 22,000 last year, and the past prior 23,000. One thing I'll mention on dental, that varies by the time, whatever time of the year you have your cleaning. So,
right.
We could see that change really quickly. But, halfway through the year here, you're running pretty good. Or not quite halfway through. And in your top dental providers, your Goodland Dental Arts, on page 24, you've had 62 claimants, and they are your highest paid so far. Just kind of letting you know again where people are going. And you guys kind of have the record here for, on page 25, your average age is 30. Blue Cross's book of business is 36. So you're way below that, which means, again, projects a better claims projection usually when we are looking at renewals and those kinds of things. So you guys have the lowest one I've seen in the last year at 30. Most of my counties, and I know you guys have been there, are 38 to 40 and even up to 45. So you guys are way better than the Blue Cross pool.
Harvey and I are included in that.
Yep. No, because you're not in there. But I am, so
Yeah.
I put it at the top.
Yeah, if you'd been out of there, you'd another 20 years off of it.
On page 26, as I've been working with county commissioners kind of my whole life, again, some of you aren't on the plan. This is just something we've decided in the last, since we've done renewals this year, to put in a summary of your benefits, just so it's a reminder of what your employees do have out of their pocket. Since you're not on it, some of you, and since you don't deal with it every day, I'll have people say, what is our deductible? What is our prescription? So we've decided just to put this in here, just to kind of, a quick refresher if you're kind of curious. on what the out-of-pocket is and how your plan works. That and the dental summary. So you'll see this in here going forward. Just, again, if you need it or someone calls you, you might need to pop that out and say, well, you have the $1,500 out of your pocket and it's 50-50, or don't forget about, the ER copay if you, don't get admitted, some of those kinds of things. But just some extra knowledge if you need it there, a little cheat sheet, extra information. Any questions on where we're at on the Blue Cross side?
I like it when you come and say we're in good shape.
I do too. It makes the drive up here a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yes.
I get about Colby and I get real nervous when I have the other. I'm always going to provide you guys with a little bit of news from our HR hotline and our client portal. Ashley gets inundated with this stuff all the time just due to compliance things. The Live Well, Work Well piece on page 1 and 2, these are just easy things to do to stay healthy. They're something different every month, and so we put that in there for you. On page 3, just little things to change your health and things that are very easy to do. Like that piece, and I like the mental health on the other side. But I did stick in the Lucid Health, which was New Directions that you guys have provided. They came out for your prices here a while back. They're just really good to work with. But it is Suicide Awareness Month in September, and so I just thought I'm going to slip this in here for you. This is in their newsletter, and I know Ashley shares that too with when she gets it. But I just thought I'd stick that in there for you since that's kind of the topic for September, and today's the last day. But mental health is a huge priority in most of our groups right now. And that mental health minute, this is one that Ashley gets every month too. She can share them with people. I had a call from a school district just needing some mental health information. So, real quickly we put a few things together to send out. So if you know of anybody that needs something between Lucid Health and your group and some other tools, we can put together some little things if needed. So don't hesitate to holler if you see a subject that you want to share more information on. Page 5 is, again, this is basically on Ashley's plate, a little bit of information on the pay or play. You guys are not subject to that because you do cover 100% of the premium, so we don't have people going out on the marketplace and getting a subsidy, so it doesn't affect your group. But these things come out every month. The CHIP program is the lower no-cost health insurance for kids, and there's been some updates on that. The biosimilars we talked about a little bit instead of generics. There's that page in here if you're kind of curious on how that works. The HR brief, we want to keep your clerk up to date on anything that's happening in the human resources side, and that's on page 8, different topic every month. The compliance tracker, again, we keep that coming on a regular basis. And then there's a compliance bulletin on Medicare Part D, which is if you are still working and you are over turning 65, how to handle your benefits. This has to go out every year right in time for the Medicare open enrollment season to make sure that those who do not have a creditable plan, or meaning the prescription plan is not as good as or better than Medicare, that they need to make sure they have that Part D. The county's plan is as good as or better than Medicare, so your employees don't have to worry about that if they work till they're, and I actually have this, I have a guy retiring at 88 in one of my groups this year at the end of October. So just some good information there. These compliance bulletins will have anything that's extremely important for Ashley to share with your employees if needed, making sure that any new reports, those kinds of things get in a timely manner. So we try to assist with that.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I have today.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Try
Thank
to
you guys.
convince people that is a great benefit, to have that available to them that just.
I think your benefit package with the groups I work with is probably in the top 5, if not the top 1. The share pay plan is so nice where people don't have to really come up with 100% of things all at once. And then, you know, adding the flex plan that you guys have and the mental health side. I think you guys have an excellent package. So it's one that when I am working with new counties, that I kind of share how your plan works. I think it's one of the ones to follow.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for your time,
Yeah.
and we will meet again.
Okay, we appreciate your
Hopefully
update,
one
Nels.
more time before the end of the year, and then it'll be renewal time. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
But I do get that report every month. I go in and pull it and check your claims. So, you know, if I see a change, I kind of panic, and I'll share that with Ashley. But so far, I'm really pleased. So we kind of earned this after those couple of bad years,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
After
Hopefully we can stay that way. So.
Yes, but you know, every day's a new day. Thanks so much. Appreciate
Thank
your time,
you.
guys.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you all.
Yeah.
Young Mr. Zimmerman.
You go right over that.
Thought I'd catch you guys real quick. What I have here is for the Northwest Kansas Regional Homeland Security Council. So I sit on that board representing the Region 1 for EMS. Mr. Everett kind of knows a little bit about that. So I sit on 2. I represent the 14 counties in the EMS. And then also I am the representative from the EMS to represent at the Homeland Security as well. So like I've done in the past, every year they send out a deal to be signed by a commissioner, the chairman, just acknowledging that you guys approve of me being representative for Sherman County. So that's all I have here. I'm happy to look at it. I just need a signature if you guys are okay with me still representing Sherman
Better
County.
check it over.
I better check it
Never
over.
know.
This guy's done it. I don't know.
You still go to Hoxie with
Yes.
this? Okay.
Yep.
Anything new going on in the area?
Not just yet. New funds are getting ready to come out, so we'll see what's available as far as any grants or stuff like that is available. This is where also Matthew Breiniger goes to as well to get funds for Task Force 7.
Okay.
So I'm sure he might be coming in with one of these as well for you guys to sign. But
Okay.
it's just good information because we
Well, you want to look at it too.
get a lot of
Better make sure it's
information. You know,
legit.
information as far as if we're future trainings or anything that the counties in this area need to work
Ashley, do
together.
you need a copy of
Yeah,
this?
please.
So maybe pass that back to her. So you had mentioned something last week that one of your new ambulances had to go in for some repairs.
Yeah.
Is that fixed?
It's fixed. It
Things
was
are okay?
it was a Ford issue. The new Mid 5. We had put it in service last month. It ran the month of August. Didn't really have any issues. Right now it's in the back, but they were doing a bus check on it the other day, and the air conditioning quit working. So it actually just went to Ford yesterday. They had to put a brand new compressor on it. So
That's under warranty.
it was under warranty.
Okay.
So.
Better be.
Yeah.
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 So, and then Dave Vance is from Osage, the manufacturer of the box. He's actually out here today right now, rewiring some camera configurations for all the side cameras. So that way we can got like a 360 view around the bus. So,
Otherwise, things are going good.
so far, yes.
Good.
So that's all
Okay.
I had. So,
Well, thank you very much.
thank you.
Couple pieces of mail here.
Was there any action you guys needed to take for fire board minutes?
No, did you guys get to see it?
That's all.
This is again one of the ones for the water and sewage. Feedlot in the southeast quarter 14. Just, they're given the notice of water drainage in that for feedlots of any type. And that's the only one that's just just one in Sherman County.
Harvey, when you asked earlier about people putting the RV camp out in the county, that's the only thing that they have to abide by, is the septic part of it. They can't just let it run on the ground. So through LEPG, they have to follow their standards on that road so it's turned in.
That's why you would have to have a collection site and be pumped by a licensed pumper. Okay.
And if there's violations, you guys are aware, they send like that, the violation of somebody being turned in.
This is town hall meeting for High Plains Mental Health, October 14th at Hayes, the Crisis Center. Just a notice, and then a thank you card from Aaron's family on our
Okay.
auditor.
Another question for Ashley. Our December KAC meeting coming up, will you need a head count for that soon? Is there a deadline? Then another question for Brett. Do you think we should pursue looking at a bid in sewer at the fairgrounds, just to have a heads up?
Yes. At least that way you'll have an idea of if that's what you wanna do.
Yeah,
Our
well,
variance gets
and to make a timely decision if all of a sudden we get an overflow. I know a comment was made at the last meeting that there would be an influx the week of the 22nd of more workers, but we haven't seen an influx, into campgrounds or anything, because they're all full.
I think it would be appropriate to at least have that information.
Need to pursue that and see what we.
It says online registration is available until 12/9. That's when the conference starts. It's December 9th through the 11th.
Yes, and so, but we could start giving you the head count on who's going.
By mid-November,
Okay,
if possible.
okay.
Where's that at?
Wichita?
It's the 50th.
50th, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like it'd be a pretty good meeting this year.
Well, are you checking your schedule for the October 14th meeting instead of the?
Yep, I'm good on the 14th.
Okay, so we'll move that to the 14th instead of the 13th because of Columbus Day.
That is motion day, so I'll be good until about 8:45.
Okay,
Have to go upstairs.
well, we know where to find you. You'll be in the courthouse, so.
And then Thursday.
Yeah.
We have a disaster
drill.
drill for the courthouse. Kevin, I think you said you'd probably show up.
I'll be here. And you said 9 o'clock here.
Yes.
Okay, I will be here.
I hope to be sitting on a tractor somewhere.
That's fine. I can represent the commissioners if you guys need me to.
Okay, fine.
Mm-hmm.
The conference is the 9th through the 11th,
Yes.
Tuesday through Thursday.
Mm-hmm. I don't have anything else. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.
Been moved and seconded, we adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.